welcome to a Thursday night edition of the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs, a.k.a. the Podfather. You can get a hold of the show by emailing us at theohiopodcast@gmail.com. Check out the website over at theohiopodcast.com. Thank you so much for downloading the audio version of this each and every single day. Shout out to all of you who do so. Received a nice email from somebody who appreciates the fact that we have on his phone for him the newest edition of the OHIO podcast each and every single morning for his drive to work. I appreciate that. And he says he loves when the wild man goes off. So that being said, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody first, Chris, and we'll go counterclockwise.
Well, I am the wild man, Chris Wilds. I am the remaining OG co-host.
Yep.
On the show here, you can find me on X at thewildman97.
Sean.
I am the Shrek Star Sean Shrek. You can catch me on Facebook or on X, Sean Shrek 45.
TG.
I'm TG. You guys can find me obviously on my YouTube page of the Spectrum Podcast, where I also have myself a new co-host. Sean, you know who it is, obviously. And you guys can also follow me on Facebook, such as Tierra GI Sports, or you can follow me on X as TG, or simply, if you want the full thing, TG Spo Imp 71413.
There you have it, guys. And I am the Podfather. Feel free to follow me here at the OHIO podcast on X. It's at the OHIO pod, over on Facebook at the OHIO podcast, or my name, Eric Boggs, over on Facebook. All right, guys, let's dive into it tonight. The cheater, pumpkin eater, the one and only man of mini football tickets on the 50-yard line, with apparently a lot of family members with really good cell phones zooming in on opposing sidelines, coaches who are signaling in plays, because, you know, that's what I do when I go to a football game, is I literally take my phone out on the 50-yard line and zoom in across the sideline. Who cares what's going on the field? Let's just look at the coaches and record for 3 hours on my cell phone. Yeah, that guy. Well, he tried to get back into coaching in the NCAA by petitioning the NCAA to reinstate him. Said petition denied. He must go ahead and fulfill the 8-year obligation of not being able to coach in the NCAA. Hey, we were told this was just a low-level staffer here. I mean, he was a nobody. He wasn't anybody that anybody should worry about. Just a low-level staffer who was overachieving. Whatever. Don't mind the statue we're bowing down to in Ann Arbor to the man. Don't mind the fact that when he walks into a bar, we all celebrate and act like he's the greatest thing ever, pulling out our cell phones and getting selfies with the guy and posting them on X or Facebook or Instagram. Don't mind any of that. He's just a low-level staffer. So low, in fact, I mean, I can't believe the NCAA, Chris, is letting this guy sit on the sideline. Who is he? My goodness, this draconian NCAA keeping this poor low-level staffer who barely made enough money ends meet. He had to have a side hustle fixing vacuum cleaners, mind you. He was making so little money. They won't let this guy coach, Chris. This mean NCAA. My goodness. What in the world? Well, let's see what the NCAA actually had to say about it. Here are the 4 things that the NCAA said he broke, that he was petitioning, mind you. Number 1, violation of the principles of honesty and sportsmanship by directing and arranging impermissible scouting of future opponents. Remember, these are just family members with tickets on the 50-yard line that he somehow paid for with his own money, despite the fact he had a side hustle because he wasn't making enough money. Number 2, violation of his responsibility to cooperate during and after his employment at Michigan. Number 3, the NCAA's findings were based on procedural errors related to the irregular and help me out, Chris. Prejudicial. Procedural. My goodness, the print is so small on this. I was like, what is that? Procedural way in which the case started. So this means basically he's saying the NCAA erred in how they approached the investigation, and the Committee on Infractions misapplied the scouting bylaw. That was his argument here. So he says that the whole honesty and sportsmanship thing, the whole responsibility of cooperating during his employment at Michigan, that was what they said basically he broke. Here's what he said they did, and they did wrong, thus basically saying he should be allowed to coach again. All right, I will step to the side. Chris, you're first.
The only thing the NCAA did wrong was not giving these asses the death penalty. Giving Connor a lifetime ban. That's the only thing they did wrong. Of course he violated the principles of honesty. Honesty is a big word he probably doesn't even know how to spell. He was directing and arranging or inappropriate scouting. We know this. They've admitted to this. And as far as his responsibility to cooperate, you mean to tell me that, stomping your phone and throwing it in a lake isn't cooperating? That's not cooperating. Deleting text messages, that's not cooperating. I know that was Sharon's thing, but they were from him. The NCAA did nothing wrong except not properly execute the penalties they should have. That is the only thing the NCAA is guilty of. And I love the fact that they upheld this, because this is a slap in the face to the Michigan program as well as Connor. This does reaffirm the fact that they cheated, that they should be wearing a big asterisk around their neck everywhere they go, that their title is bogus, that their record over the course of that 3-year period is bogus, and even though they didn't have the stones to pull the trigger on the actual sanctions that they are actually supposed to do according to their bylaws, that's the bylaw they misapplied right there by not following their own bylaws and giving them the sanctions they should have. Just because they didn't do that doesn't mean you're innocent. This verdict or this outcome reaffirms that they are guilty of exactly what we all knew they were guilty of. And in the big picture of things, let's call it what it is. Connor Stalions is done. He's never going to coach on an NCAA sideline again. I know he's a fairly young guy. He's never going to coach again. Not in the NCAA. Nobody's going to want that albatross around their neck. And for Michigan, what this does is this reaffirms at least the financial sanctions, which is going to hurt the university in the long run. Not significantly, but it's going to hurt the university in the long run. So, I'm happy for the outcome in this. I'm still disappointed about what happened in August, that the NCAA failed to uphold their duty. But at least they got the ruling right this time.
TG.
I 100% agree with Chris, obviously. The NCAA actually did the right thing by making sure this moron never, ever, ever coaches in college football ever again. He should not even be allowed to coach on football, period. I don't care if it's high school. I don't care what. This guy should never be involved in football ever again after the nonsense he pulled. And good for the NCAA for finally having the spine to do something. Finally, you have the spine to enforce something for once. Should have done that before. Should have been doing it all this time. But of course you don't because you're a weak, spineless fools. But hey, I can give you credit. You finally did something right.
8-year ban was too long, guy. I mean, not long enough, guys. I mean, that guy should be permanently. He shouldn't even be allowed to walk in a football stadium, in college football stadium. That's how big of a disgrace he is. I mean, for him to even try to come back, this shows how delusional he is. And I tell you what, maybe he can go be a ball boy at the San Diego Chargers, and his buddy Harbaugh can help him out there if he wants to get back into football. But there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that he should ever get into NCAA football ever again. I don't care what kind of job it is. I don't even think he should be allowed to sell popcorn or peanuts at a stadium. That's how big of a disgrace this guy is and what he's done. The NCAA, that's a little too late in my book, man. Yeah, you stood up and you did something this time, but should have done it the first time.
Sean, and Eric, can I ask a question real quick as it relates to what Sean said? I agree with you, Sean. And I think, do we not also take this latest ruling as I said it was a slap in the face to Connor in Michigan, but is this not also a slap in the face to Ohio State, the Big Ten,
100%.
and the NCAA as a whole, the teams in the NCAA, from the standpoint of you are now reaffirming that they did everything they were accused of.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you did nothing about it. Is that not a bigger slap? Is it a bigger slap in the face to Michigan? Is it a bigger slap in the face to Connor? Or is it a bigger slap in the face to all the rest of us who are now being told, yes, clearly they did what they're being accused of. We're reaffirming this punishment because they did it. And we still, they still haven't gotten to the bottom of, you mentioned it, Eric, Connor Blake and the vacuum cleaners. They've still never touched that. I don't get it. I don't get why the NCAA can be so high and mighty and do the right thing here, but they couldn't do the right thing in August when it mattered.
Look what they did to MSU. They slammed MSU. I mean, seriously. Oh, because they paid you, what, $70 million fine? You're just going to let it go? I mean, you have no credibility. I mean, you shouldn't even exist anymore, honestly. And you're just a joke.
Good, interesting comment from RDCB. I guess my biggest problem with the whole thing is deep down, everybody knows if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Ohio State, we would have gotten smoked. 100%. That is the feeling amongst most connected, well-connected Buckeye fans when it comes to the history of this program. So let me clarify again this graphic that we have. The top two are these are the rulings that Stalions appealed following violations that led to the ruling. So these were the top two rulings that the NCAA had that he appealed, and his argument was the last two. So Stalions argued that the NCAA's findings were based on procedural errors related to the irregular procedural way in which the case started. So he is arguing that however the investigation begun, that was illegal. Guess, Chris.
He's claiming Ryan Day's brother turned over the information. That's what he's falling back on right here.
Something of that nature, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then the second is the Committee on Infractions misapplied the scouting bylaw, basically saying you guys didn't understand your own rule. They're the one who wrote the rule, dude. Like,
you know what, though, Eric, it's a good argument on his behalf since they didn't understand the rule that the penalties, and they even said it, the Committee on Infractions, those penalties warranted vacated victories, and they didn't do it.
No, and this
and bowl bans.
Yes. This is why they came down so hard on Jim Harbaugh and Connor Stalions was they were the low-hanging fruit for the NCAA. They were the sacrificial lambs. Let's not forget, Harbaugh was already gone. Connor Stalions was already fired.
Yeah.
That was low-hanging fruit for them to try to appease Buckeye Nation and the rest of college football fans by saying, look at what we're doing here. And this guy has the cojones to come to that same organization who made him the sacrificial lamb and say, you guys don't know what you're talking about. He is lucky. He is absolutely lucky. He only got 8 years on
Should have been a
this.
lifetime ban, without a doubt. Should have been a lifetime ban.
No
So
doubt.
so obviously here he's doing the Michigan thing.
The Michigan man.
He is through and through 100%. He is doing the Michigan thing. He's playing the victim card. They are so good at it. I literally think, you know how kids who are born at OSU Hospital get a little Ohio State blanket? And, they're a little pillow football. They're like, hey, look, cute. Another Buckeye was born. You know what they get when they get born in Ann Arbor? Victim cards. Here you go, kid. You're a victim for the rest of your life. Learn how to use that victim card. It's unbelievable. Dude, take some responsibility for what you did. No, I'm going to go get on Netflix. Let's make a Netflix special where I just go, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That might have been me on the sideline. I don't know. Doesn't look like me, does it? I mean, give me a freaking break, dude. Unbelievable, man. The complete narcissist. The narcissism in this is just astounding to me. And what's even funnier with all of this, in my opinion, are the Michigan fans who line up to just gobble this gook up, man, like he is something special. They cling to that asterisk national championship like it is an absolute idol. And I've heard it been said on the show multiple times, and I'm starting to agree with it. It's like their fan base sold their soul to get it. They don't care that they cheated. They don't care that they won it. They didn't win it the right way. They don't care that Connor Stalions cheated and was out there breaking bylaws in the NCAA. He's a hero to them, man. He's absolutely a sacrificial god to them by this. You go and you read all their message boards right now. It is poor Connor. Oh, this is so unfair. This guy did everything, man, to help us win a national championship. He is a hero to us. It is absolutely astounding to me, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, what do you expect?
Not surprising.
These are people who bathe in dumpster juice and drink hot dog water. I mean, come on. That's the kind of people you're dealing with here. They are not a bright group of people. They are not a genuine group of people. And they made a deal with Satan himself. That's right, the bald-headed Satan you saw at the beginning of the show in his blue and piss yellow shirt. They made a deal with Satan himself to get that natty, and that's all that mattered to them.
They have no integrity.
They
Right.
don't know what integrity is. They don't have a clue. That's another one of those big words they don't understand, Sean.
Or class, or morals. I mean, we would be embarrassed if something like that happened at Ohio State. We would
have hand delivered that title back. We would have hand delivered it.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, they have no shame, Chris. I mean, honestly, like Eric said, they made a deal with the devil because they've been so long since they've been a champion. They've been a joke. Their hero Jim Harbaugh couldn't win them a big game, then all of a sudden, they did whatever it took. They were gonna die trying to beat Ohio State and win a championship, and that's what they did.
Where did it go?
Legit. Honestly, it's not surprising because, I mean, this is Michigan. This is who they've always been. We're just really getting to see it fully as to how deep it goes, just how morally bankrupt they really are. Like, that's what we're just now figuring this out. Like, we're just now seeing the full true colors. That's all it is.
Do you think, TG, if Kyle Whittingham goes in there and clean house, let's say he gets in there and cleans house, and he's doing everything the right way, and he goes 8-4, do you think this fan base is gonna revolt against him? Because
yes.
I really think this fan base will sell themselves out again for another national championship. They will look at 8-4 doing it the right way, and they will say, nope, we've absolutely got to go back to where's Connor at? Get Connor back here. I'm telling you right now, They are upset about this. Now, some of them are going to get on their YouTube channels and on their platforms, and they're not going to act upset. Trust me. The Michigan people on them message boards right now are irate because in their mind, they were thinking we're going to be able to get Connor back. And I know someone said in the chat, the University of Michigan is trying to distance themselves from Connor and from Harbaugh in this era. They are, but it's ingrained in their culture. And that was what I was talking about the other night with Whittingham. He is going to have to try to break this thing down to the studs, man, maybe even all the way down to the foundation. It's so rotted up there. It's still in the athletic department with the AD and Ward Manuel. He's still one of the biggest issues out there. And now there's the rumors going around that Coach May, the basketball coach, possibly tampered to get his roster, and there's people starting to do investigations on that. It runs so deep in the university. They literally had the FBI on campus, guys. We're beyond sports. They had Chinese spies on campus. This is crazy.
Cheating is their culture.
It's who they are. It's like
who they are.
It's just it's what they do. It's not even surprising because when we see what Michigan is, it's like we're just seeing like I said, we're just seeing who they really are now. Like with Kyle Whittingham, like I said, yeah, they go 8-4. They're gonna try to run him out of the city. Like this is who their fan base is. It's like us Ohio State fans, we wanted to run Ryan Day out of the city for losing to Michigan the way he did. Because first of all, it was embarrassing because you shouldn't have lost in the first place. But also like with how he's been in big games, because Ohio State fans have those expectations, and Ohio State fans have every right to have those expectations because of where our program has been, especially during the Urban and the Tressel era. We expect greatness out of our program because that's what we expect. And look, while our program has not been perfect, while our programs had their own little issues, even if they're nowhere near as bad as Michigan, we still call them out on it. Like, let's be realistic. We talk about Tattoo Gate as irritated as we are with the NCAA about punishing us over tattoos that had no effect on the game whatsoever. We still called out the program. We still called out the players, and we still called out Tresser for putting us in that situation in the first place.
And TG, you can ask Eric. He'll vouch for me on this one. I still have not forgiven them for what they did to shame this program.
He hasn't. He's wrong.
I know you haven't. I know you haven't, Chris. I trust me. I'm aware. Listen, I look at the tattoo thing and I say, well, what did it do for sports? But I get it, though. You shouldn't have broke the rules. But also, the one thing that does tick me off with the NCAA is, okay, you apply this to Ohio State, but you don't apply this to Alabama, who Nick Saban, who owns like a bunch of car dealerships, and you're seeing like a bunch of his players running around with all these fancy cars. But yet you tend to look at Terrell Pryor because he's driving a new car with some new money yet. And this has been going on for a long time, but it is what it is. But it really does show you the differences between Ohio State and Michigan, and I would say between Ohio State and a couple other programs, because here's the reality. Ohio State does this nonsense, we getting smacked like no tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's the expectation of Ohio State. You're expected to be the clean program versus majority of these other programs. With Michigan, that's never expected, which that tells you how everybody saw their program, including the NCAA. It's like, it's not surprising. Your program has always been dirty. That is the lowest set of fruit that you can have for your program. You have the lowest set of expectations, and you are seen at the very bottom to a point where people don't expect anything from you. That tells you what that program is.
This is a great comment from Lisa. They still got the cheating culture that they've always had, and that is why I still not trust them, because they haven't changed. We do not accept our coaches cheating to win games. Pathetic. Let's not forget, they tried again this past year on the sideline.
Yes,
that's what our headsets.
That's what the headsets.
Connor Stalions is gone. Jim Harbaugh is gone. The culture's still there
because they haven't got rid of Ward Manuel. How can Whittingham do anything really to clean it all up if one of the main problems is still there? Who covered everything up, who covered a lot of stuff up, and was one of the dirtiest people of all, and that's Ward Manuel.
Even if Sharon Moore knew nothing about it, none of the coaches on the football staff knew nothing about some individuals thinking, hey, we can disrupt Ohio State's columns here from the coach's booth down to the sideline and to the players here. If we just unplug this, that just tells you that this ideology has been bred throughout the entire program
Yes.
to where a couple guys on the sideline running extension cords think, we can get an advantage here. That's how deep this runs. And so when Beat Piece 777 says, I have to say I don't read Whittingham as that same kind of turncoat. He seems like a good guy. We agree with you. What the argument we're making is I don't know if he realizes what he's stepping into here. This is a den of thieves, man.
And Eric, let me just tell you, Ward Manuel is as responsible for this as anybody.
Yes.
And let me tell you right now, he could have dealt with the Connor issue. He chose not to. He could have dealt with the Harbaugh issue. He chose not to. He could have dealt with, and we could go down the list of the numerous coaches who have committed crimes or who have broken rules. And you need more than your fingers and toes to count these guys on. He could have dealt with all that, but he chose not to. Ward Manuel may be the biggest part of the problem.
Well, the reason
he's willing to do anything.
The reason he's still there, Chris, is because they are scared of him.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
Exactly. Yep. And he's the type of person, Sparrow even told TG and I this, that he's the type of person that if you fire him, if you take him, he's going to take people down with him if he's going.
Agreed.
So, I mean, everything's going to come out, and they're all petrified of the guy. He rules with fear up there. So, I mean, that's why he's still there. I mean, any other place, he'd have been fired a long time ago.
And, we talked about it being ingrained in the culture. And we've talked about this numerous times, Eric. You and I did a show about it. We even did it right after that press conference. Did Ryan Day not have the greatest response to just say, we know who they are? When he gave that little wink, when it was it Doug LeMaurice that asked the question?
Yeah.
About why did you expect it?
Yeah.
you know, Ryan Day knows who they are. We all know who they are.
Yep.
I mean, he literally looked at the media with a smirk on his face and winked at him.
Yeah.
It is absolutely astounding to me how people like Connor Stalions, who obviously is an intelligent person, you don't do what he did in creating that kind of database with that much intel, with like the amount of time he spent watching film, taking snapshots, lining it up with plays, reading the play, writing it down, like the amount of detail with it. He might be like autistic, just to be straight up honest with you, because of the level of detail that he went into breaking this stuff down. He's obviously incredibly intelligent. To do that, but not able to read the room and understand that outside of his bubble where he's worshipped and everybody pats him on the back and holds him up in such great esteem, he's looked at as the biggest cheater in college football history in our lifetime, guys. Right next to Jim Harbaugh. It's astounding to me.
You mentioned the intelligence. He was a military intelligence officer. And then he took that military training and used it to devise this scheme. Come on. He used military training to cheat in college football. Yeah, we can't question his intelligence, but obviously, the military may have given him the intelligence, but he lacked the integrity that comes with it.
Integrity is not a word they know, Chris, either as class or morals. I mean, honestly, it's disgusting the culture they have up there. And I feel bad for Whittingham because he's a good dude. He's got class. He's an old school guy, and he's going to have his hands full up there. He's going to have a bunch of punk kids that don't respect him, that, been getting away with murder up there. I mean, he's going to be in over his head. And even if he did go 9-3 and did it the right way up there, they'd run him out of town.
Sean, they haven't been getting away with murder. They've been getting away with blackmail. Let's get it right.
Blackmail.
Yep.
Well, they might have gotten away with murder and we not know about it, Chris. So.
Well, they almost did, but butter knives weren't effective. Oops, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
Now would be a good time to run the OHIO podcast butter knife commercial.
It would be.
It would be, but we can't because we know YouTube is gonna be after like it.
You know, I labeled this still cheating. Let me explain why I did that, and then I'll get your final thoughts about the situation. It is obvious to me that this appeal of his was a level of cheating. It might not be him watching film. It might not be him, sending people to games illegally and doing advanced scouting illegally. But it is still him trying to cheat the system, trying to get back into college football. If you think for 1 second he was back in college football, and obviously Michigan probably wouldn't hire him because they wouldn't want the optics of that. But I wouldn't put it past a low-level MAC school like, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, or Eastern Michigan to say, let's get this guy. He might be able to help us on some level with advanced scouting, with some kind of form of scouting. If you don't think that would be possible, I'm telling you, it 100% would be possible. Let's never forget the dude wrote a manifesto. You know who else writes manifestos?
Bombers.
Yeah, people who we're not allowed to mention on YouTube, okay? For what they do that's really bad to society, okay? This guy took what job he had, and he took it to an extreme that was out of the bounds of what you're supposed to do within the framework of sportsmanship and class. And he went way beyond that. In his mind, all is fair in love and war, baby. And if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? In his mind, that's where he was at. This guy's literally trying to get back in the game. You think he wouldn't do that again?
Oh, yeah.
Of course
100% he would do it again. He is still trying to cheat. So excuse me for being defensive for the game of college football for a minute. Take off my scarlet and gray glasses, looking at the guy man to man. Dude, take some responsibility. Admit you sinned. Admit you cheated. And then take the medicine, bro. 8 years is not that bad. You did not get a lifetime ban. Learn from your mistake. Be a man. Step to the plate and say, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I will accept responsibility for what I did. No, we're just going to deny and deflect and play the blame card again. Victimhood, man. The victimology here. Ignore the fact you literally, like Chris said, threw your evidence in a pond to avoid trying to get in trouble. My goodness. Last thoughts, Chris.
Well, Central Michigan might want him back. They already know how he looks in the coach's gear.
Right?
Yeah, Eric, I'm with you. This guy is just low life trash. He is not somebody who could ever be trusted to come back into the game. Any program he is associated with in the future automatically comes under intense scrutiny. It has to. Because once a cheater, always a cheater.
Mm-hmm.
This guy showed he has no boundaries. He fears no consequence. And why should he? Why should he? You devised the greatest, most massive cheating scandal in college football history, and you got nothing but a slap on the wrist. Why should he fear the consequences? Why wouldn't he come back and try to do the same thing again? To me, this guy, again, should have had a lifetime ban. I'm hoping that college programs are smart enough to steer clear of him. But I think you're right. Sadly, if he, in 8 years, he is available, someone is going to take a flyer on this guy. And I promise you, we're going to go down this same path again. The sad part is the next school doesn't have Michigan's pedigree. They don't have Michigan's clout, and they are going to get annihilated, and they are going to receive the death penalty that Michigan should have received this time.
Well, if anybody takes him, then they deserve it then, the way I look at it.
Here's what's funny is like you're talking about Michigan clout. I'm still trying to figure out what clout these idiots have had since being irrelevant for the past 80 years, where their greatest brand of relevance is the rivalry game. I would never understand that because it's like
it's perception. That's all it is. It's perception.
Perception. So are they as big as say like think about their perception? Are they? Is their brand anywhere near as big as Ohio State? I don't think so. No, not even close. As a matter of fact, what's funny is there is a survey done about the most well-known brands, especially by like overall, like over like 1,000 people who where there's a survey this is done by. Michigan is barely in the top 25 with Michigan State. Like they are ranked in the same as Michigan State. Which what does that tell you? They are not ranked anywhere ahead of Penn State. Oh, Penn State ain't even a blue blood. So like the fact that Penn State's in the top 15 at number 13. USC's ranked ahead of them. Oregon's ranked ahead of them. You have other schools that aren't even as big as their brand ranked ahead of them. The only 3 schools ranked ahead of them that are as big as their brand, if not bigger, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, all in the top 3. You're barely in the top 25, which tells you just how irrelevant you've been. So I don't understand the clout that these idiots have, other than the clout that you've been getting from your cheating scandal and your little Chinese spies on your campus, trying to harm the U.S. Other than that, what clout do you have? I don't get that with them. I never will understand that.
I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the cheating, they would still be irrelevant. I mean, honestly.
That's the only reason why they're relevant. Yeah. Is the cheating. That's it.
Mean, that's disgusting. I mean, they sold their souls. You know, they got that tarnished trophy sitting in that case. You know, it doesn't mean crap. I mean, it's the least respected championship of all time. I mean, I just don't understand how he doesn't get a lifetime ban for it. Pete Rose got a lifetime ban.
Him and Harbaugh.
I mean, Harbaugh, maybe, you know, he can, 8 years is, like you said, not enough, man. He can go on with his buddy Isaiah Hole, that scumbag, and they can do their podcast together. Maybe Harbaugh or Jesse Minter can give him a job as a water boy or a ball boy, you know, in the NFL for 8 years so he can get back on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's interesting too is the kind of person that Isaiah Hole promotes himself to be, and then to openly and blindly promote this guy and what he did is astounding to me.
Hypocrite.
It's astounding to me.
You know, Sean, you mentioned him going to the NFL. I don't think he can. Because here's the difference between Minter and Harbaugh and Connor. Those guys went before the consequences rolled out. At this point, Roger Goodell and the NFL have set a precedent. Somebody mentioned it earlier in the chat. Terrell Pryor was penalized when he went to the NFL. He had to sit, 5 games? Mm-hmm. Jim Tressel was penalized when he went to the NFL.
He wasn't allowed to go to the NFL.
That was as a consultant, not even a coach.
Yes, right. But I'm saying they have penalized these guys. They have held these guys accountable because their consequences were laid out prior to their move to the NFL. That's why Harbaugh and Minter have gotten nothing. Because it took the NCAA 2 years to get their head out of their backsides and deal with the situation. And by that point, it was irrelevant to the NFL. However, this guy coming in at this point, the punishment already levied, now reaffirmed, I don't think the NFL would even consider touching him at all.
I'm just surprised they haven't got him a job inside the office or being a ball boy, or water boy or equipment manager,
Yeah, a ball boy who follows the coach around and
Yeah,
the running and
Carries a
exactly.
passing.
clipboard.
A little different in the NFL though, because they actually have the headsets inside the helmets now. Same thing in college football. It's a little different
And what
now.
started that? Does anybody remember?
Yeah. Wonder what caused all of that.
What? Wasn't that another Michigan man involved in that one?
Well, that was the
Yep.
same Michigan man
Sam.
involved in that one. All right, let's move on to our second topic for this evening. Nice little spirited conversation about Connor. He's the gift that continues to keep on giving. This is an audio clip from 97.1 The Fan. Bo Bishop is interviewing somebody. I'm not quite sure who he's interviewing. And he's talking about the amount of money that Ohio State will be dedicating to the transfer portal, player retention, and recruiting, and how it's going to change recruiting, how we probably might not get as many five-star recruits as we've gotten in the past because of this, which is funny because, well, our boy Vader, along with Mika, laid this out weeks ago for everybody, and it's finally caught up to the radio station at 97.1 The Fan. So round of applause to our insider Buck Vader, his assistant Mika. Well done, guys, for getting that information out to all of you who, if you would have been a member over on Patreon, would have known this weeks ago, but now all of a sudden people in and around Columbus who aren't watching us or aren't plugged in over on Patreon are just now hearing it on 97.1 The Fan. Here's the clip.
I think you're going to find a scenario where you're going to get 7 5-stars. I think they will try for 4 to 6 of them, and then they will fill the rest of their roster with, maybe Ohioans, 3 and 4-star guys they can develop, and then the emphasis will be on the portal as well, and that's kind of the needle that they're trying to thread here. Is that what I just outlined, what you're hearing at the highest end of the sport, the Georgias, the Texases? Is that – and by the way, Mark Pantoni had to do this they switched their philosophy in a month. It all kind of changed in a month. Are you hearing more and more of that kind of being the model?
Sort of. It's hard to judge recruiting classes, and in some ways, I would only put stock in the top handful of guys of a recruiting class because it's half those guys are probably going to be gone in 2 years. And so can you hit on enough guys that you get enough starters or backups out of that group pretty early, prepare to lose the other guys, and you have a staff in place that's able to find guys elsewhere who can come in and give you depth? Because the roster turnover year to year just isn't changing unless Congress gives college football the ability to change some rules. But the unlimited transfer means you're just going to have a lot of turnover every single year.
I think.
All right. So basically, I mean, you want to validate Vader. There you go, everybody. When 97.1 The Fan is literally talking about what we broke over on Patreon and then here on our YouTube channel weeks ago, due to Vader's intel and who he's connected to over at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. There's your validation. So awesome job, Vader. Keep up the good work, buddy. I wanted to share this not only because it validates Vader as our insider and the hard work that he's doing and how well connected he is, but I want to bring up yeah, there you go. Good timing, buddy. You're welcome, America.
Thanks, Vader.
So I wanted to circle back to this. I know we've talked about it. I know we've all discussed it. TG even went into a dissertation about it one time where she had graphs and everything else about breaking it all down and fixing NIL for everybody over at Ohio State. What's interesting about this is there's two lines of thought here. Now, Bo says, hey, we're probably not going to be able to get as many 5-stars. And I think he's right. Because you're going to have to relocate some of those funds, reallocate some of those funds to the transfer portal. Let's just be honest. You're going to have to be a player in the transfer portal to be successful in this era of college football. Retaining players and getting players to come to Ohio State to fill needs, who are high level, who are good, who can help you win national championships, is more important than taking and spending that money on guys who might be good and might not. I mean, let's be honest here. Is putting stars next to recruits an exact science? Heck no. Chris, how many times have you and I watched films and we disagree with 247 Sports or we disagree with On 3? Heck, 247 Sports and On 3 can't even agree half the time, do they?
Right.
Mm-mm.
Right.
So why would Ohio State spend money on something that isn't a sure thing? If you are not 100% convinced that this kid that you're recruiting who's requesting 5-star money, okay, which means he's requesting 7 figures to come and play for you, he might be worth it, might not. I don't think you can make that investment. Chris.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank 97.1 The Fan, and you know, just like with several other entities out there, we are often imitated, never duplicated. They have all of our best ideas. If your name's not Bobby Carpenter at The Fan, clearly you're running a little bit behind. But you know, I agree with what you're saying, Eric. And this isn't the first time we heard this. We heard this from Ryan Miller. You know, previous to that even.
Oh, it's been a year and a half?
A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
People who are in the know knew this was coming. And I agree with it. I do not like the idea of paying some 5-star kid, you know, this outrageous contract just because you think he might be good based on the rating that he purchased from 247 Sports. Why? This is where you have to trust, you know, and this statement is overused on this show as well as everywhere. This is where you have to trust in the process. You have to trust in our coaches to go out and see the talent and develop the talent and keep the talent. And you have to trust that the 5 stars that they go after are legitimately 5-star guys. There's a reason they're going to pass on some 5-star guys, whether it's character, whether it's maybe they see something flawed in the technique, whether it's they just don't think he's got the it factor. We're going to pass on some 5-star guys, and our fan base is going to go nuts.
Yeah.
The fan base at Ohio State is going to go nuts. Why didn't you this? Why didn't you go after this guy? Why weren't you? Why didn't you pay more for the freshman that went to Tennessee, the offensive lineman? Why didn't you pay more for this guy or that guy? Guys, this is where we have to trust in the process. Trust that, and this, I know it sounds weird coming from me, who is Ryan Day's biggest critic. Trust that Ryan Day knows what he is doing. Trust that Carlos Lachlan knows what he is doing. Trust that Bowen knows what he's doing, that Laurinaitis, Walton, every member of our coaching staff, Johnson, Patricia, John, you know, trust that Arthur Smith, trust them all. Trust that you know what they were doing. Guys, we are in a very, very rare situation. We have one of the most elite head coaches in all of college football who was flanked by 2 top-line coordinators who were former NFL head coaches. Trust in what they're doing. And TG's up there saying, how long did it take me to smack this into him about Patricia? But trust in what they're doing, guys. This is the right thing. This is the right way to go. This is how you are going to go to the next level. You're not going to do it. Look at Texas A&M. Just going out and buying 5 stars is not going to get you a championship.
Look at Texas Tech.
Tech.
Look at how much their roster was, and they got smoked in the CFP in round 1.
Yep.
Guys, just, it may not seem like it makes much sense to you when it happens. If you watch, well, first of all, if you watch our BCRs with me and Eric, you're going to understand part of it. If you listen to Buck Vader and Mika on their recruiting uh, analysis, you're gonna understand it. And then when you realize what Ryan Day is putting together, you're gonna understand it.
All
So,
right,
guys,
we need to clip this. So when Chris is going off the handle early in the season, I can
Trust.
say, Chris, here's your words you just said.
yes,
Trust these coaches.
and you know what? I'm gonna go off the handle, Eric. I 100% admit I'm probably gonna go off the handle, and you will have to remind me. Listen, you said this, but I truly believe that they know what they're doing. They know what's best for this program. They're going to do it the right way. They're building for the long haul. So have faith.
I tell you
Sean.
what, Ryan Day has been. I mean, look at his winning percentage, and you know what, guys, we have an advantage because what are they doing in the NFL? They scout. I mean, we have guys that have spent many years in the NFL, and they know how to scout. The tape does not lie. So, I mean, you got to trust your eyes and see what, if these guys are really 5 stars or not. You watch the film. I mean, it's easy for some of these kids to pay these services to bump them up, a star or two. So, I mean, if you look, C.J. Hicks was a 5 star. How'd that end up for us?
Yeah.
So,
Well, he did get misused when you think about it, though.
well, I mean, he also
Yes.
played at a very small high school, and I mean,
Well, he was very talented. He was raw talent. It
Yeah.
He was not
and,
developed properly.
and he played a
That's what it's
position.
about.
And I know a guy who watched every one of his high school games, and I remember him telling me, he goes, Eric, he's not a 5 star. I go, get out of here. I go, I've seen his highlight film. He goes, yeah, you've seen the highlights. He's out of position a lot. He
Yeah.
really doesn't know what he's doing. He's just roaming. They just let him roam around, and he uses his athletic ability to basically make plays. And he goes, when he gets to Ohio State, they're not going to know where to put him. I mean, he hit the nail on the head with that. So, I hope he has a great fifth year season
Yes.
here and goes on to the
He is.
NFL. I do, but let's not sit here and think that every 5 star kid from the state of Ohio is a guarantee either.
Exactly.
I remember the offensive lineman who we all were upset because he went to Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name now. He ended up getting drafted by
Cameron.
the Bengals.
Wasn't it Carmen?
Carmen, there it is.
Carmen.
Yeah. Good call, Sean. Good memory.
I ain't surprised. I mean, it ain't surprising though, because it's like we seen this with Clemson, and I had actually predicted this back then. I said, one thing with Clemson is their offensive linemen are not good. In the NFL, Clemson's offensive linemen do not last for more than a year. They really don't. So it's like the fact that you went to Clemson of all schools to get developed when their offensive line players in the NFL like have a history of not getting signed again. Like they never get signed again after their rookie contract is up. They never do because they're that bad. And it happened to him. He never got signed after his contract was up.
What
Never got signed
what
again.
ended up happening to him? Did he just fade away?
He went to the Bengals,
Yes.
and that was, he wasn't that good.
Yeah, like he
Yeah,
just
right.
faded away. That's what happened with all of Clemson's offensive linemen. I say it to any offensive lineman. If you go to Clemson, you're not getting signed again. Like your rookie contract, that is it. You're done. Because this happens with all their offensive linemen. It does.
Maybe the Aviators could use him.
No,
don't even-
no.
Let's see. I'm going to look him up right now. Yeah, it just says he was drafted in the second round by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 2021 NFL draft.
That's exactly. Like no one knows. He just faded.
The last time, he is in the UFL.
He's in the UFL for who?
He was selected by the Birmingham Stallions of the United Football League on January 14th, 2026.
Well, at least he's still playing.
So he's
At
still
least
playing.
he's still playing.
Good for him.
Good
Good for him. But
But he's not an aviator, so see ya.
Thank God he's not. I don't want him on the Aviators. He sucks as an offensive lineman.
Bye,
It's not
Felicia.
even surprising.
Real quick, before we end the show and we head on over to Patreon for the after party in the asylum, Bo Bishop also mentions, after stating, that they might take less 5 stars, he says he anticipates them taking a lot more 3-star athletes from the state of Ohio with the perception or idea to develop. Chris, your response?
I swear I've heard that somewhere before, Eric.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that take. Mainly because it was our take to begin with. Yeah, I agree with that 100%, and we should do that. We should look at that. I especially like that on the offensive and defensive lines. If we can do that on the offensive, defensive line, because there is something different about offensive and defensive linemen that play in the Midwest. There is a toughness about them. There is a edge about them. There is a grittiness about them that you don't get from pretty boy offensive linemen that play where it's sunny all the time. And if we have, and the key is going to be here, Bowen. Can Bowen develop them? That is what has to happen. If Tyler Bowen can develop these guys, then this is a brilliant plan. If he can't, he may not be the guy to be here because this is the way of the future. So to me, it's all about that development. And I think we've seen it. We've already seen it, Eric. We've already seen them this most recent year look a little bit more towards Ohio for some of these mid-level guys. And again, I think these are guys who are kind of looked over sometimes. But I truly believe that this is the way to go. I love it. And one of our big criticisms is always we don't have enough guys from Ohio. We don't have enough guys who come in understanding the rivalry. This is what we need from our team, I think.
Well, here's the problem. It's not the development part, guys. It's are we going to be able to hold them? Look at this year. Transfer portal. We lost guys that have been here a couple of years that we developed, and it was their time to play, and they left. So, I mean, that's what's irritating is we're going to develop some of these guys, and they're going to be ready to play, and someone's going to come in and offer more money than we're going to be willing to pay them. They're going to leave. So, I mean, it's funny that, these other podcasts have been, they finally caught up to what Vader was saying. And, I mean, like you guys said, what was it, 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe even longer? I mean, you guys said the exact same thing he just said. So, appreciate Bo Bishop, wish he just gave us some credit for, where he heard all of it. But, hey, it is what it is. But, I mean, Vader was right when he said it.
I don't know that he heard us or listened to us, but it is funny that the news has come around to the national perspective of it finally.
It's funny some of these other podcasts are. I'm not going to mention any names, but it's just kind of funny that we do these shows and all of a sudden people are copying the shows that we are doing.
Yeah,
and
we got great ideas, man.
It's great ideas. And,
never duplicated.
Exactly. Flattery is the best form. I mean, copying us is the best form of flattery, right? So
that's right.
Imitation is the best form of flattery. If you're to ask me, I've been saying it. I think that because of where NIL is going at Ohio State and given the plan that they produced, that Vader has showed us is, yeah, they're going to start taking more 3-stars because they don't want to deal with the 5-star nonsense of paying these guys when they don't deserve it because they haven't played on the football field. Like, Ohio State doesn't care if you're a 5-star. Like, you're like everybody else once you come here. You're every bit as talented. First of all, you're in a room full of guys who are every bit as talented as you. So you better prove it on that football field that you worth that money. But secondly, it's like these 3-stars believe in the development plan. They believe in the development plan, and they want to be Buckeyes, most of them, especially the ones from Columbus. Like, they do. The ones from Ohio, mostly. Now, obviously, you got some who don't want to be Buckeyes. That's fine. But most kids from the state of Ohio want to be Buckeyes. And guess what? If you're able to get them to come here, stay here, and develop, which for the most part you will, because most of them do want to be Buckeyes, then you're pretty much going to have a long-term future. You just got to make sure that the guys you're evaluating in the 3-star level actually have that potential. Like what we've seen with a James Laurinaitis, what we've seen with guys like Jaquan Guilford, the guy who just got promoted to a 5-star by Rivals, by the way, who we all said, how is this dude a 3-star? Guys like that. If you can see that and you can develop those guys, Absolutely, I think Ohio State's well on track, and it does come down to Tyler Bowen because I'm not gonna lie. While we're all worried about Tim Walton because the corners cannot turn their heads around for whatever reason, I still think he develops the corners. I think he does a good job enough, but I would like to see him do better and get the corners to turn their heads around more. But I'm worried about to see, okay, can Tyler Bowen develop these 3 stars into the offensive linemen we know they can be? Because the one thing you can't say about Ohio offensive linemen, they are nasty mother effers. They are. They are nasty. Say whatever you want. They are. They're nasty mofos. They are the type that are wanting to put your face in the dirt. Bring me those guys here. Develop them as pass and run blockers. And guess what? We got ourselves a certified offensive line. So that does all come down to Tyler Bowen based on how he develops these O-linemen. At least the 3-star O-linemen. Because these dudes are nasty.
I love how no matter how many stars you had in high school, the first day on campus when you get to Ohio State, you're 0, buddy.
Right.
You get a black stripe on your helmet, and it didn't matter what they said about you in high school. You're starting on the bottom rung, and that's the reality of it. Whether you were 3, 4, 5, or somewhere in between, you are no better than anybody else. So, all right, guys, that's going to be our show for this evening. Please, I put the link in the chat. It's also down in the description of this show for over on Patreon. We're going to be heading over there now. The gloves are going to come off. TG, who's been very, very quiet and polite tonight and kind, she might just let it all out over on Patreon. So we'll have to see if we can poke the bear tonight. Maybe Chris and I will have a good slugfest tonight verbally. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Tyler will get on and say something very inappropriate and funny that will live on in infamy and become memes over on Patreon. Love you, T. It is wild over there. Yeah, we're a T club. This means timeout, and it also means Tyler's about to say something. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hang out with us over on Patreon, everybody. We'll be back Sunday night. Will be our next live show. We go Sunday through Thursday. But tomorrow on Patreon, we plan on watching Ohio State versus Penn State 1 versus 2 in wrestling tomorrow over on Patreon. So if you into a little wrestling, it's the biggest wrestling duel of the season. It's going to be pretty awesome. That's tomorrow night over on Patreon. We'll have videos between now and then for you, but we'll see you all live again right here Sunday night on the OHIO podcast. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Scum still sucks.